Hi, my name's Bill Brayton and welcome to virtual training powered by ATRA. Today we're working on sealing ring replacement on the 10R80 main shaft and center shaft. The 10R80 is the Ford 10-speed, the new rear-wheel drive 10-speed that comes in vehicles such as the F-150 and the Ford Mustang. So what we're going to do, these are solid sealing rings, okay? And the sealing rings need to be replaced on every rebuild, especially in California. But yeah, that's actually, it's the law that you have to change sealing rings. So by nature, these solid sealing rings get very distorted when you put them on. So we've got some special tools from Ford factory tools that we're going to demonstrate here today. These tools, these particular tools we got off of eBay, and there's 3 pieces for this one right here. That's the installation tool, that's the sizing tool, and this is the other part of the installation tool as well. So 3 pieces to put these sealing rings on. So we're going to set those aside for the moment, and we are going to remove these sealing rings. And we're just going to use a screwdriver because we're going to destroy the rings as we get them on. So we break the sealing ring apart like that. And we're going to do that 4 more times until all the sealing rings are gone, and we're going to trash them. Okay, now we've got all 4 of our sealing rings taken off. We've cleaned up the sealing ring grooves. Now we're going to install the sealing rings using our sealing ring installer. Now this is an adjustable sleeve, and what we're going to do is turn the thumb screw out here all the way until it's just so the lip of the tool is even with the sealing ring. So now what we're going to do is take our sealing ring and put it on our installation tool. Now this is, I call it a pusher sleeve because it pushes the sealing ring down into the groove. So it makes it nice and even. Give it a little tap, and then push it down. Boom. There. Now we've got the sealing ring into the groove, and look how distorted that is. So, you know, there's other methods that you can use, hose clamps, other various clamps that you can work of to size these things down, because to get this very distorted sealing ring down into the bore, it's going to be very difficult without it being sized correctly. So then to install the next one, we just turn the screw up till it's even with the next groove. About right there. And then we're going to go through the same process of putting the sealing ring down on there. Well, and these tools are, I just really like these tools because they're just an automatic type of thing, you know, and it distorts it so badly that it misses the groove. It goes completely out of the groove, and thus it's gonna, you know, you can compress it, but boy, it's just really distorted. So it's gonna make putting this thing together really difficult without the right tools. So we're gonna repeat that for these next 2 rings, and then we're gonna get the sizer on here. Okay, so now we've got all 4 of our severely distorted rings. Now, some of you guys might even want to put this in the freezer overnight to have these contract a little bit more before you start messing about with it, to try to bring these back into shape. because now we have to use our installation tool, and boy, that's going to be a real trick here. So this is our installation tool. Let's take a little bit of assembly grease here and lubricate the surface here. A little bit of help with getting this tool down onto these fussy sealing rings. Okay, so here we go. And that's one ring, two rings, ooh. So, there it's down on all the sealing rings. It's nice and sized up. So what we're going to do, it turns nice and free. We're going to set that aside for right now. Let it sit there maybe overnight. Or at least for an hour or two while it sizes those rings down. Okay, now we're going to set that tool aside, and we're going to work on our main shaft here and remove those sealing rings. So let's do that. We'll start from the bottom to the top here, and give me a minute. We'll get all these sealing rings off of here. Once again, we're going to break them and throw them in the trash. Okay, now you see we've got a total of 10 sealing rings here. We've got our sealing rings all taken off. Our grooves are all cleaned up. And eventually when we're all cleaned up and finished with these rings, we've got this one last one here at the end of the shaft that we're going to be taking care of. So back to our special toolbox. That one's on there. Okay. This is a really nice piece of kit here. We've got the sealing rings, because without this tool, you're going to need to have something like a 90-degree pick here, and you're going to have to work those rings all the way down here. And it's really, I mean, they get pretty distorted even with the special tool, but even so much more with this. So that's how you would do it if you didn't have the special tool that we're using here. And just as with the other one, we're going to unscrew the sleeve till it gets even with that bottom sealing ring, and we're going to work our way back up. Okay, so there we are, even with the sealing ring groove. Now, just like the other one, I place that sealing ring, and here's our pusher. We're going to see, there again, boy, these rings are really distorted. But so we just kind of give them a little push into the groove here, and get the pusher tube off here. The next one. And it's even with the next groove, so we're ready to finish putting the rest of our sealing rings on here. See, and this is I just love how efficient this is. And okay. And so we're going to do that for the rest of these 3 sealing rings. Now we've got all our sealing rings installed. They're all really floppy and sloppy. So now we're going to use our sizing tool. I'm going to put a little lubrication on it. And so Set that aside for using it where it belongs. Carefully, we're going to That's how it's supposed to be done. Is slide that over those sealing rings. And now we're going to let that sit on there. Remember, the longer it sits, the better. So we're going to let that sit on here. And now we're going to use our final special installation tool. A little bit shorter. And same as with the rest of them. Going to adjust this so it's right even with the that last sealing ring. Okay. All right. Put the ring on there with our pusher tube. Okay. Adjust it to the next sealing ring groove. And push it on down into the next one. And then we're going to continue on and finish up these last 3 sealing rings. Okay, there we go. We've got our 5 sealing rings installed now. Very loosey-goosey. Now we've got our lubricated fitting sleeve, a sizing tool. And let's slide it down onto the grooves there. Yeah, you gotta make sure you're not pushing it out of the groove there. There. Now you see it rotates nice and free. Both of these rotate nice and free because those sealing rings are all nice and comfy in their grooves. So now let's take a look at what the sealing rings look like. This has been sitting here for a while now. Let's take a look at these. Now they're all nice and comfortable in their sealing ring grooves. Now this piece is ready to be installed into the sealing ring groove bore without having to worry about damaging the sealing rings. And if you want to leave that on there, that's even better. You don't necessarily have to, but we do recommend it. Now we're going to take a look at our other rings, and they're nice and fitted into the groove. So that's the sealing ring sizer and installing tool that I would highly recommend getting and working on, because this is going to be the same for the 10R80, the 10R60, and the 10L90 and 10L80, which is coming out in the General Motors. That's coming out on Camaros for right now. But so we're not quite done yet. We can set these aside. But we have, let me get rid of my trash here. Yeah, but we have one more piece, one more ring to go as part of finishing up this shaft. And that's this guy right here. So let's just flip this over. This is into the output shaft. This will be sealing into the output shaft that also has a couple of rings. This is actually the passage that feeds the E-clutch right here. So this is a very critical sealing ring as well. So we're going to go ahead and remove that now. Now on this one, I did not get a factory installation tool. That's a whole nother toolkit to begin with. We do have our new sealing ring that we're going to fit into the groove, But here's the special tool that I'm showing you that, that I came up with, that I made from some stuff that's just around the shop. Here we have a split piece of just 1-inch PVC pipe and a 1 1/4 inch seamless. I call them seamless because they're really smooth on the inside here. Hose clamp. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of fit this on here. Now remember, it's going to get pretty distorted. So you can see how that's pretty distorted like the other ones got. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to use our own little sizing tool. Okay. Got our hose clamp. And we fit our PVC pipe inside of there. Now there's a little step here. You got to be careful for. You don't want to. You can't get the tool tied up with that step. So fit that, and now we're going to tighten down our hose clamp. Now that we get the step in there, let's make sure. Yeah, okay, we're missing that step. Now that's nice and tight. It's fitted. It's seamless. It's not going to hurt the sealing ring at all. And we could set that aside. Okay, we've let that sit for a while. And we've compressed that all in there, nice and easy. There you have it. That ring is fitted and ready to be installed using a hose clamp and a couple of pieces of PVC pipe. So, in closing, it's very critical, especially if you have, well, it's actually the law in California, but it's very critical for a good rebuild to make sure that you renew these sealing rings. And using the factory tool or a copy of the factory tool is the right way to do it.